All right. What's up? Thank you so much for tuning in to Final Fan TV. You are watching Final Podcast, where we spotlight Final Fantasy developers, voice actors, and community members. If you like that, please subscribe now so that way we may continue to host amazing guests like the one we have joining the party tonight. He is a music producer, a composer, and is well known for outstanding renditions of video game music, from full orchestral remakes to funkifying classics. He also creates in-depth analysis and reaction videos to video game soundtracks. Although you can find a plethora of video games covered on his channel, he frequently covers Final Fantasy music, and he's a Final Fantasy enthusiast. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Final Fantasy, which, by the way, that's such a cool name. Like, whenever I come up with, I don't know, a new channel idea or whatever, finding the name is always the hardest thing ever. But Final Fantasy is like, by the way, hello guys, hello everybody. There's so many people here. What's up, guys?
That's awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Yeah, keep it active in the chat. We'll be taking fan questions later on in the show, and we'll keep an eye on the chat as we go. But yeah, so when I came up with the name, I was just going to go really blunt with it, man. I was just going to go straight up Final Fantasy Podcast. Yeah,
probably there was another one already, maybe.
Yeah, when you search for it, there's. I was like, man, what can I get? Final Fan, and then I was like, well, if I do podcast, then that limits what we can do to just podcasts. And I was like, so if we want to do Let's Plays, it doesn't make sense. And I was like, so let's do it like a Final Fantasy TV. And then I was like, Final Fan TV. Final Fan. Done.
Yeah, a miracle. Well, you started with a boom, with a bang. That's great.
Yeah, it's
don't be like me and call yourself, like, I don't know, with your real name, because then, God, like, I'm always kind of like, I wonder what my dad thinks. Like, my dad, thank God he doesn't use the internet, because now if you look for Moukala, you just find this guy playing bass, or people saying like, oh, Moukala's music here, Moukala's music there. Oh yeah, Moukala, that guy who makes the Blurry the Light reaction. If my dad Googles Moukala and he finds all this stuff, he's going to be like, son, what the fuck did you do to our family name? Now everybody thinks that we're just all about bass and music. But, I'm always like, I should have picked something different. But
no, man, now your name is like just, synonymous, man.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm like, thank God it's synonymous with good things. What if one day I just do what if one day I do a super fucking stupid thing and then it becomes synonymous with some drama? I don't know. Like, people do shit mistakes, and I'm like, I hope that doesn't ever happen. But
yeah, this is live, so don't mess up.
yeah, exactly. Someone says, suggestion, make all the guests read a quote from Sid Highwind. Sit down and drink your gotten tea. There we go. There we go. Anyway, what's up, everybody?
So much. I'm Daniel Hofflich. I'm the FFTV party leader. And it's just going to be me today. You might notice that we're missing Reed Daniels and Vinny McGovern. We miss them. They wish they could be here, but just me today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and stay tuned, because we'll be doing a giveaway for MJ Gallagher's new book, The Norse Myths That Inspired Final Fantasy VII. And it's going to be a signed copy. So big thanks to MJ Gallagher for, wanting to.
That's dope.
Yeah, wanting us to put that on. Yeah. So more details on that later. I would like to dive right into the questions for you, Alex.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Let's do it.
First things first, Alex, your portfolio is absolutely, like, it's just astonishing. There's so much great content in there. You've been at this for a couple years now. You're a self-taught composer that's enjoyed, this is crazy. Tremendous success, and you're only just scratching the surface.
Thank you.
Early on in your career, you landed a placement in 2016's Ben-Hur film.
Oh, you did some research. Yeah.
I was excited to have you on. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I imagine that this is, this was a breakout moment for you.
Yeah, that was with a friend of mine. We wrote this track together, and it came up very great. And then it's funny, the power of friendship. I made many friends in the trailer music world, and we ended up getting like placements and stuff, and it was a good time. Yeah, I really, but I couldn't do it without them, you know. So that's one thing that I always try to tell people is that that happened, but it's also because of the people that were beside me.
It is the power of friendship, man.
Power of friendship. Kingdom Hearts. That's how it is.
So yeah, what are some other moments that have happened since that Ben Hur placement that have like reinvigorated your passion for the
actually there was like with my work with Trader Music, which I really cherish, and I had lots of like fun with lots of people and stuff. But there was a point where I felt a bit disconnect with that and me. The reason why I started making music is I spent too much time roaming the world map in Final Fantasy VII as a kid, and the music inspired me like crazy. And I remember I downloaded the MIDI files of the soundtracks, and I would just, the MIDI sound font version of the music, and I would just headbang heavily to like Those Who Fight Further in MIDI version.
Yes.
And there's this very cool thing about being a nerd. Nerds are the people who see like 8-bit characters or something like that, and they imagine that 8-bit dragon in full resolution, like in reality. We have the power of imagination. Mm-hmm. That's what makes nerds so cool. And for me, I'm a nerd with music. So when I heard Nobuo Uematsu's music in like MIDI sound fonts, I felt like I was at a rock concert or something like that, even though it was a MIDI chip thing. And that really inspired me, because like I love the music. It gave me shelter in some way. It inspired me a lot, and it accompanied the story of this game so efficiently. And it made the characters live in me. Like whenever I listen to the Nightmares, like the Nightmares Beginning from Vincent Valentine from FF7, I feel like Vincent Valentine. I remember all the stuff, and I'm like, wow, music is so powerful. You can find relatability and all these things. And so that eventually drove me one day to be like, hey, I'd like to do what Nobuo Uematsu did for me and many others. And, write music for video games that is going to impact the generation. So with Trader Music, I wasn't really doing that. I was really, it was great. It was exciting, and it was, good money too. It was like great things, but I wasn't writing music that was having a place in people's hearts. I was writing music to promote movies. So at a certain point, I was like, I'd like to, do something different. I didn't know what to do, but I was like, let me just do something that I really like to do personally, which was write a orchestral cover of The Landing by Fantasy VIII, one of my favorite pieces on the game, on the entire series actually. And I've always wanted to do an orchestral cover of The Landing, but I never felt ready because it's such an incredible piece, and I didn't know so much. But after making Trader Music for all those years, I was like, no, maybe I could pull it off, to turn it into a, epic Trader version. I spent 200 hours on that thing.
Wow. Which
is like playing, 3 or 4 Final Fantasy games together. And it was humbling because I listened to the original, and I reverse engineered by ear what I heard and rewrote it and arranged it in a more modern way. And in doing so, I really noticed all the different layers of like complexity that there are in Nobuo Uematsu's music, especially in the old one from the, MIDI versions and stuff. There's still a lot of degree of complexity. It was very inspiring, it was very humbling, and it was so freaking fun to do it. And I published that. And that was one of the most passionate projects that I did. And then after that, I was like, hey, I like this. I should make more. And then I did the FF6 Terra's theme in Skyrim style. Then I did, what did I do? Before FF7 Remake came out, 2019, I started making FF7 Remake covers where I took the videos of the E3 presentations with Neil Pabon screaming excitingly or Cloud slashing with his sword.
Love it.
And I heard, there's a bit of music here. Let me listen to this bit here where Neil is screaming so much to figure out what notes are being played. And then I would write them in my program I used to write music. And I wrote these covers where I either recreated or created and extended the snippets we heard at E3 on the preview album website and stuff. And all these projects, when I work with Final Fantasy music, have always been very heartwarming and rewarding. Yeah. And the most beautiful of all of the ones I made, I'm about to release, I think, next week. I wrote I'm working on a funky version of One Winged Angel.
Yeah.
which
Are you
is
gonna do
crazy.
a full version of it? Like
Full version. It's like it's gonna be, but it's gonna be like 2 minutes. It's not gonna be like 7 or 14, like every verse.
Right. Just like a condensed.
Because I'm not so good yet, but I am doing that, and just because people are going crazy about the short one.
That 15 seconds it's just.
I'm surprised because to me, I'm like, it's just a riff that I came up to practice bass, and I think it looks like it's cool. I'm excited about it, but it's not so like.
Yeah. What's so cool about it? Sorry I just want to interject for real quick. What I think what's so cool about the One Winged Angel that you did, the funkified, is I don't think it's like really been done. You hear these metal versions of it. But here's this funkified version of it, and it's like, this is awesome. You know what I mean? So I'm really excited for the full version of that.
Yeah, someone in the chat just wrote, like, I'm trying to read the chat too. Guys, thank you so much for the messages. We're trying to have a conversation that might be hard to read all the time, but someone wrote, the funky remixes Alex makes remind me of the process you have to do to making a future funk track with sampling. That's exactly what's happening. Future funk is like a genre where people take a very old song, usually Japanese songs, they speed them up, they remix them a little bit by adding drums and stuff, and then it sounds super cool and energized and stuff. That's kind of what I do. I take the song, I remix it, I do cuts and stuff, and then I add the funky or electronic music drums and stuff, and then I play bass over it. And yeah, it's true. Like the one thing that stands out is probably that there aren't people doing that in the video game music world. So maybe that's something people never saw coming. And also probably people like, I think when I listen to my music or when I see especially the funky remixes, I'm like, honestly, I'm not very good, but I think the one thing that people like is the enthusiasm that I have for this stuff. So maybe that's what people like. And I share those, and sometimes they really go viral. And when they do, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do a full version. But One Winged Angel, I don't know if it's like meant to be funky at all. Maybe that's the last thing they thought when they made that track. So when I listen to it, this funky version that I wrote, which is very complex bass lines run over and over, I'm like, yeah, this is funny. Like, this is nice. But I'm like, this is also stupid. This is not what they meant for the track to sound like. And also, it's just, probably it's not very good, you know? It's just, it's like half a meme and half it's like serious, but actually it's not. But yeah, I'm going to release that. And then on top of that, I'm going to release a video that to me is very, very, very special about Final Fantasy VII Remake. And it's going to have one of my favorite orchestrations I ever wrote. And it's going to be heavily FF7 inspired. I hope that people enjoy it. And yeah, like for me, it's going to be my favorite. There's been 2 times where I cried while composing. One was this orchestration here. And the second was a Kingdom Hearts remix I made a few years ago. But yeah, those are my favorite moments. Sorry, that was a fucking long answer. Sorry, everybody, but yeah.
No, man, that's why we have you on the show, man. I want to hear you talk. Wow, I'm really excited for that for next week's.
Well, I think you're gonna like it a lot. Like, okay, did you like the ending of FF7 Remake?
Did I like the ending of FF7 Remake?
Did you? Okay.
We'll try to keep it brief, I guess.
Okay.
I was one of those.
That is not like tied to the track, by the way. It's just asking.
Oh, okay. Just general. Okay. I'll talk about it.
Yeah.
So I was one of those guys who kind of were like shocked when I saw the ending, and because I've said this on the show a couple of times, so I'm sorry if.
Let's try not to spoil if possible. Maybe there's people who haven't played it. Can we do it in a way where we don't spoil? Like, I don't know if people are okay with spoilers or not, but can you say it in a way where you don't spoil?
Yeah. I'll say it without spoiling it. Basically, it was something happens that was not how it was supposed to go. You know what I mean? Like it's not, and I hate when people say 1-to-1 remake, because that's not what I wanted. But because I loved everything they included in it and everything, the extra missions and stuff. But it went a little bit to the point where I was like, wait a second, this is not the game that I was promised. This is not the game that I was expecting or wanting. but I can say that the indie, man, Alex, you opened up something here. You opened up a wound. No, no, it was something that I'm not even gonna lie to you, man. And this is like legit. I was
Mm.
like, I was kind of depressed for a few months afterwards because I really wanted just to experience the story that I grew up loving. It's like the sacred story that
Yeah.
means so much to me.
Yeah.
And then when it was different, it kind of got me shocked and bitter a little bit that I'll never get that remake
Yeah.
that I've wanted for so long, since
Mm.
2005, since the PS3
Yeah,
tech
dude. Like
demo,
it's
you know
been
what I
crazy.
mean?
It's been crazy hype for everybody.
Yes. So, but with that said, I will say that I am now past the acceptance stage of my grief, and I am I'm really excited for part two. Like I know what
Well,
it is now. I know what to not expect, if that makes sense.
yeah. Yeah. The one thing that I discovered, I understood from the ending is that I don't know anything. Like I really,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, because now you may think, oh shit, it's, it really does hit different. It's going to be not like I was expecting.
Exactly.
Or is it?
Or is it?
Are they making you like, are they trying to make us expect that some things will change and then in the end they won't? Is there going to be a point in the games where we start to feel that we have the power to change some of the traumas that are in the story, and then suddenly we're going to realize we don't have the power anymore? So like, it could be that they make you believe that it's going to go different, but then at the end it goes the same way and they just tricked you all the way through. And
that's it. And
that would be
that's the
cruel.
thing. It's the uncertainty that causes unease. You know what I mean? Like
I like that though personally, because I'm like, hey, yeah, give me some like roller coaster of emotions and I'm gonna be happy.
Yeah, exactly. As long as the core themes of Final Fantasy VII remain intact, where that's where I was getting a little bit, I guess I was getting a little uneasy on, was the core themes of it, life and death, and the importance of it. And then at the end of, well, I can't spoil anything, but like you start realizing that you're just like, wait, what, you know, like I gotta have part two. You know what I mean? I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to return to locations that, you know, that are near and dear to my heart. You know, I'm excited. I'm even excited to see like Junin. You know what I mean? Like just
yeah. That's actually one of my favorite locations. No, yeah. And ironically, that was cool as heck.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine?
Yeah, that would be dope.
With the
already, like when they showed it in Crazy Score, I was like, whoa, this is dope. But yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cosmo Damn. Canyon, all these places.
Or Red awesome. Wearing like a sailor outfit.
Yeah. Barrett
that would be nice. Sorry, I'm sabotaging the podcast. I should be answering questions and asking the questions.
No, that's okay. Hopefully Chad didn't mind, or nobody minded me going off about my
Yeah, we tried not to spoil, because I'm sure there's people who are still playing or who maybe didn't play it yet, but one day they will. We're not going to say anything.
Exactly. I will say that it was my game of the year though. So yeah. if that you know, like a game that broke me also was the game of the year. Yeah. So anyways, man, also I guess I'll just plug this right now. If you are interested in a full unfiltered spoiler filled like thoughts on Final Fantasy VII Remake, you can check out our podcast, Final Podcast 7 Remake. And we just go into it from there. Also, so Alex, I want to ask you about your favorite Final Fantasy. You said that your one coming up next week is going to be your favorite of all time. But in my questions, I was just wondering, yeah, what was the favorite one that you've covered? Like, what's your favorite cover? The one that makes you the most proud?
I think it's probably The Landing, because that was my I would say the very first. Oh no, there's two. There's The Landing, which I really liked, but there's another one I made of FS7. When FS7 Remake got announced, 2015, I wrote an arrangement of On That Day 5 years ago, which was like, I tried to make it a bit smaller size, but even more emotional. And I don't know if it's on my channel. It must be on my Twitter somewhere. No, yeah, it's on my channel too. And I like it a lot because it's not my usual epic bombastic track, but it's very emotional, but still kind of, I don't know. I felt like I added a lot in there and a lot of nostalgia. And when I listen to it, I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe that I have so much nostalgia from this game that I write stuff like this. So probably that one. Okay. Yeah, on that day 5 years ago, and the landing. And also when I made my extended arrangement of the FF7 remake battle theme, as in I took the first minute on Square Enix's website, rewrote that, and then I extended it with my own ideas. That's crazy. I really like the extension I added, which goes super epic. And those three, I would say, yeah.
Okay, that's fantastic, man. All of those were just fantastic work. I really enjoyed them. Yeah, and then when I was doing my research, I was on your SoundCloud and I saw The Oath, and that was from
that was super old.
6 years ago, yeah.
Yeah. That one was like, that's an example of a track where I think I put the right emotions, but the quality at the technical level is not there because I didn't know as well as now. But when you create stuff, it's gonna happen with you with podcasts as well. Oh, yeah, as you go on in the next, like when you're, 2 years into this, when you go look back to these episodes you're doing maybe now, you're gonna be like, oh my God, like the quality here, blah blah blah. But the thing that remains is like the intent, the emotion. And when I listen to my old music, I'm like, I feel the emotion. I'm like, oh, this is nice. Like
your mind was there. Yeah.
Yeah. It feels like looking at yourself from 10 years ago and being like, I can't believe that I was so stupid, but also I was a nice person, it's like, that's how I feel. So I like that one. I still remember all the counter melodies and stuff that I added, but
was this the first one? Was this the,
no, before that I made the first Final Fantasy cover I made, which is the first ever piece of music I ever composed. Arranged or whatever, is Find Your Way from Final Fantasy VIII.
Gotcha.
It was the first ever, and it was kind of depressing and stuff, but I liked it. It was very somber and stuff. And it was so somber that I kid you not, every time I listen to the track, something bad happened straight after. I don't know why. Every time I listen to this arrangement, it brought me such bad luck. And I was like, damn, does it really put me in such a bad mood that then shit happens? So I don't really listen to it because I'm like, I don't want trouble. But there was that. And then after that, there was a Thunder Plains Final Fantasy X arrangement that I wrote, which was based on whistling. I downloaded this library that created whistle sounds, and it was like, ba, 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 da, 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 but with whistling. And then after that, I wrote a FF8 piano cover of Ami from Final Fantasy VIII. But this is all stuff that the quality is kind of fucked. But yeah, I did write a few. Someone asked, favorite classic FF bassline. Classic, if we're talking about the first 6 Final Fantasies, I would say the Decisive Battle of Final Fantasy VI.
Yeah.
Also Dancing Mad is still Act 4. Yeah.
Dancing Mad, yeah. That one has a ridiculous bass.
Like everything about that track is ridiculous.
It is, yeah.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty, like, when you play it, it's like dope.
Yeah,
like absolutely. The previous, like the vintage Final Fantasies are the ones where Uematsu really went hard with the bass. Yeah. And also Final Fantasy X, the normal battle theme of Final Fantasy X is freaking dope.
That's the dun, 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 dun,
yeah,
right? Yeah, that one.
But the bass line is like dun, 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 dun. I really love when the bass kind of moves around a lot, because the bass is like the foundation of a track. Really, like it's like, if we're talking about the Final Fantasy 14 party, the bass is like the tank. It carries the whole track. And the way you move the bass defines the whole feel of the track. So usually composers don't really move it around so much, because you have to be careful with that, because you can really fuck a track over. But we must like kind of, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, like, a lot of people like overlook bassists. You know what I mean? And
yeah, because like there's loads of,
see what happens.
There's loads of risk into screwing up a bass, So it's safer to not do that and just let the bass be like do 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 do, which is like a waste. And I feel Uematsu really didn't freaking care, and he really plays around with it, especially in Final Fantasy X. And it really gives a lot of like depth to the soundtrack. And in my funky remixes, I'm trying to like show that, like, hey guys, bass is cool. And actually, the reason why I bought the bass was like, first, one of my best friends plays bass, and he really likes it, and he got me to really like it too. And then there was one day where I was playing Persona 5, and I played so much Persona 5 that I started writing a remix of Life Will Change. And I wrote a bass line that was very cool on the computer. And I was like, hey, I want to buy a bass to be able to play it live. So I bought it on a whim. I got it. I'm like, okay, time to play the bass line. And I couldn't, obviously, because I sucked. But I got fascinated by it because I'm like, damn, bass is an instrument that people really don't care about. But actually, you can do so many cool things with it. And yeah, I'm trying to bring that forward in my music, in my funky remixes. Because it's so cool. Like bass is an instrument that is rhythmic, but can also be melodic. It's like a red mage. Use you black magic and white magic too. And maybe you're not as strong as a black mage, or as you don't heal as much as a white mage. But the fact that you can do a bit of both is actually freaking cool. Yeah. You know, I think bass is the same.
I love that. So basses are the red mages.
I don't know why I do these freaking comparisons.
It's amazing. No, I love that. That's the name for your YouTube channel. The Red Mage Bassist.
The Red Mage Bassist.
The Red Mage Bassist.
Warrior of Funk. That's what I would have called it.
Warrior of Funk. Yes. Oh man. So, Alex, you dream of one day composing for Final Fantasy. Which I mean, I have to say is a amazing dream to have. Like if
and impossible
that ever happened,
also
insane. No, I wouldn't want to say impossible. Nothing's impossible. I mean, look where you're at now.
Nothing is impossible. That's true. I'm kidding. Kind of. But it's also true that I don't know if I've ever seen that done before in Square Enix, that a foreigner makes a soundtrack for like the Japanese branch of their games, you know.
Exactly.
It's rare. We've seen that happen with like games like Metal Gear Solid and stuff. But Final Fantasy, I don't know if that ever happened, but I would like that to happen.
I'd like to do a hypothetical with you. If it were to happen, let's just get crazy with it. Let's just say that they approach you and they say they have a Final Fantasy that they want you to compose for, whether it's mainline or not. What type of, or I guess what themes? Have you ever thought about that? Like what themes would you want to compose? If you go ahead. Yeah,
I think I would love to, first and foremost, I would love to make trailer music for Final Fantasy. That's because that's something that I'm very, like, I work professionally with Hollywood movies, like movie editors, stuff like movie trailer. So I'm in that field. I'm like, yes, this is a thing I can do very well. And also, the way they make trailers in Japan is a bit different. When you watch a Star Wars trailer, it's usually like a 2.5 minute version of Star Wars soundtracks amplified to the max of like ignorance, orchestral hugeness. Well, with Japanese games, they put a soundtrack from the game, which is epic, but it's like not as like stupid loud as Hollywood music. So if they ever needed that stupid loud Hollywood music, I would love to give that to them. I know I would do a great job with that. Also, but for a game, I would like to compose maybe some, not necessarily like an entire soundtrack, but some guest tracks. Like, hey, okay, and you write 2 boss themes. Like, for example, Yasunori Nishiki, the composer for Octopath Traveler, wrote One Winged Angel Rebirth, wrote the track that plays when you meet Mayor Domino, and he wrote the goal track, like the goal boss. So he just wrote 3 tracks for the game. And he also wrote the one that plays with the cutscene when you see like the ancients and stuff.
Okay.
And those tracks are very different, have a very different sound in the game. You know, they sound very fresh because they're from a completely different composer. FS7 Remake is actually full of those. There's Shotaro Shima, who wrote the Scorpion Sentinel track, which sounds very like Hollywood music. And it's like that because that guy went to study at Berkeley in America and stuff. So I would like to like not write an entire soundtrack maybe, but just write 1 track or 2 or something. And a boss theme would be freaking amazing. Or a rearrangement of a theme that we all know, like rearrangement of the prelude, or maybe there's a character theme in the game and they give that to me and they tell me, hey, we need a version of this theme, but it needs to be more epic or more tragic because this, like, I don't know, it's like Ravus from Final Fantasy 15. You meet him at the beginning of the game, and at the end of the game, you meet him again, but under completely different circumstances, and you hear Luna's theme in a way more tragic manner. That's what I like. I like to take a track and make it satanic. So if they tell me, hey, this character joins the dark side, and you have to make his theme sound like Satan just ascended to Earth, I'm like, yeah, I'd love to do it.
Okay.
So I would love to do that. I would leave the creation of the main theme and stuff like that to composers who know way more than me. And Square Enix is full of those.
Being modest, man.
No, but it's true. No, it's true. Square Enix is full of those. But I would definitely love to help on the more cinematic, epic, and even if they need funky tracks, like if they came to me like, hey, do you want to make some funky remixes for Final Fantasy 14? We put on the, I don't know, the jukeboxes you have in the houses. I'd be like,
there you go.
like, yes.
Right
yeah.
The Final Fantasy 7 remake jukeboxes. And like, you know,
that would,
you
man,
do a track from there. Oh, wow.
That would really be a dream come true. Also because the jukeboxes they added in 7 are one of my favorite things ever. Like,
me too.
It's such a cool idea. You know, it's so different.
I'll play the hip hop chocobo.
Yeah,
I'll let that play. I'll let that.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. That's how it is.
Of your tops, your like the top 5, and you're like, and that's why this is the greatest track. It's like, I'm just kidding.
No,
it's hip hop chocobo.
It's hip hop chocobo. Yeah, no, but it's very nice. It's very creative. It's very fun. I like it, man. Actually, Square has been doing that for a little. I don't know if you played the FF13 Lightning Returns. Did you play that one?
Yeah.
Do you remember the kazoo guy, the one that plays Battle on the Big Bridge with the kazoo?
I think so. I played it when it came out a long time ago.
Yeah. So there's the kazoo, the stupid like breath instrument that sounds like that thing there. There's a guy, there's an NPC that you find in the worlds that just plays kazoo versions of like classical Final Fantasy music. And you're like, what is this? Why do we have a kazoo NPC? Or in 13.2, there's a track that plays when you ride the chocobo, which is like Crazy Chocobo. And it's like this metal chord chocobo theme, like with the guitar. And the lyrics like reference that the chocobo is so cute, so fierce, is he from hell? And it's like, the music in Final Fantasy Design doesn't really take itself too seriously. And it explores genres that they usually normally don't do in these like NPCs and in these mini games and stuff. And it's very nice. And I wouldn't mind making music for those things too, you know? I wouldn't mind like, yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I don't want to cut you off.
Yeah, there's just one way in which I can probably enter the saga by doing these small things first, and then one day they're like.
And that's actually my next question. That's I want to actually kind of bring it into this is earlier this year, or I believe it was late last year, Square Enix actually followed you on Twitter. I know that's some people was like, oh, it's just a Twitter account, but the fact that they did, I think it's well deserved that you.
Thank you.
They followed you. And this also, like I said about Ben-Hur in 2016, I feel like this must have felt like another step towards achieving that goal.
That definitely felt like a bigger win than most things that I've had happen. And even more especially when like Soken, the composer for Final Fantasy 14, followed me and told me, hey, like when we can travel, you should come and play bass with me. I'm like, I was like, what the hell is going on? I'm like, damn. And I know like he's mostly just being kind because like Japanese people are very, very, very kind towards each other. So I know like probably it's like just being a bro. But it's nice. Like it's a nice feeling to know that they know I exist because, it's a step forward. And I really don't know if this is ever going to go anywhere, but I'm trying. And also I'm doing this very publicly because I want to send a message. Yes. If I really manage to get to compose music for a Final Fantasy game, people are going to be able to go back and retrace all my steps because I have various YouTube channels where I show all the process of how I make music and blah, 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 blah. And they're going to see that, hey, this dude who's just a random guy ended up achieving that dream. So maybe I can achieve my, that's kind of the reason why the message I want to live with all the music that I make, the legacy I want to live is that. Yeah. So that's why the goal is very important because I want to lead by example. And maybe I'll make it. If I don't, I will have tried.
I will have tried.
I will have
No,
tried.
well, what got me excited just a few minutes ago is like thinking, yeah, I actually do think this is possible. Like, getting into one of those remixes. Like, what if they brought you in with one of the funky version of
Yeah,
a chocobo theme or something? It's a funky chocobo instead of hip hop chocobo. And
I would do that.
that
I
would
would
be
lose.
insane, right? So
I would
so what?
be, yeah.
I'm sorry. I was just like, so what would be your next step? And honestly, this is why I brought it up. I
Mhm.
really wanted to bring it up because I know this is a dream of yours. This is a passion. This is, I believe it's probably why you started your channel in the first place. At least on some level,
Yeah,
is so that way it can evolve into hopefully achieving this goal of being a Final Fantasy composer
yeah.
or
Also, yeah,
producer of some sort. And so that the fact that they followed you on Twitter, that's amazing. The Final Fantasy 14 composer contacted
yeah,
you. That's, I know, like you said, it's probably just being a bro, but that's that's pretty cool too, right? So
yeah, yeah.
what would be your next step? Like, what's in your mind as just keep trucking, keep doing what you're doing, or do you have
I
like?
just want. Well, I want the world to notice that. Uh, I just want the world to notice that exists because, like, one thing that I noticed or that I experienced is that for quite some time, I felt like the music I was making wasn't reaching the people it was meant for. So when I read my landing remix or my Terra theme remix in Skyrim style and stuff like that, the Final Fantasy VII remix, I was releasing those on my other YouTube channel where I make tutorials. And I wasn't releasing it in a way that you saw my enthusiasm. I was just putting the song and maybe you saw the notes running and that's it. You didn't really see the guy who made this arrangement. And they really didn't get as many results as I thought because I'm like, hey, I worked in Hollywood for many years. I make music of a certain quality, but I think people, when I publish my covers, they just think I'm just another guy just making orchestral covers without having experience professionally and stuff like that, which nothing wrong with that, by the way. But I think the one thing that was special about my covers was not being seen,
Mm-hmm.
And so there was a time when I was like, okay, maybe the fact that I'm releasing this on a tutorial channel, which has a completely different target audience, is limiting the possibility that this track can find the people that they were meant for, the real Final Fantasy fans. So I started the Alex Moukala music channel, and I just wanted to build an audience of people who are very passionate about video game music and who share the same love I have for those games. So that's why I started making videos where I explain how video game soundtrack work with reaction videos and stuff like that. And yeah, I just wanted to find the people for whom the art was meant for. And I did. And I'm very glad because now when I make videos about those tracks, like I made a video where I explained how I made the landing remix. And that video, I made it in 2020, but the track was from 2015.
Mm-hmm.
I released the video where I explained how I made it, and then I played the track. And people in the video saw my personality, saw my passion for Final Fantasy VIII, and also they got something more than just a cover. They got a walkthrough through the mindset of a composer, which is interesting. And I released that one, and the success it had, the views and stuff, was astronomical compared to the normal version 5 years prior. And suddenly the internet's like, hey, is there a full version? I'm like, yeah, it's been on Spotify and YouTube for like 5 years, But I noticed like, oh shit, it's not only about creating good content, it's also about finding the way to get it to the right people,
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm busy doing right now is like doing that, like trying to find ways to reach the right people with my content. But then what I saw is like, oh, like there was one time where there was a guy who wrote a crazy, for example, Persona cover, Persona 4. And I'm like, damn, this guy, I think he had like 300 views and the cover was like super fresh punk rock version that no one's ever heard Persona in punk rock fashion. And his vocals are on point and stuff. I'm like, why is he only getting 300 views? That's not fair. So I made a post to promote him a little bit in a good way. I just didn't publish the link. I know how to promote stuff because I know how to promote my things and stuff. And I try to use a bit of my skills at branding on him and telling people you should check out this Persona 4 stuff cover. And then that cover went to many thousands of views in 24 hours, something that barely ever happens on this guy's channel. And I was like, damn, like, oh, my work can help push my music and stuff. But also I noticed that when I make a funky cover or something and then I tag the original composer, or if I publish a cover of, One Winged Angel, and then I say, by the way, One Winged Angel was arranged by Yasunori Nishiki, you should follow him here. Then I see that the people really flock to the composers. And I am like turning this wrong, which is like the fact that the composer don't really get so much exposure, into something that is a bit more right. So by seeing that and by knowing the pain of doing something, putting 200 hours on it and having people not really care about it because you haven't found the right person to promote it to, I know that pain. And I'm like, I know how to fix it for myself. I'm right now trying to fix it for others as well, which is a collateral effect. I'm like, yeah, someone should do something about this. So I'm just trying to do that, talk about music, get people to follow who they should follow. And also I'm just trying to get to the point where Soken or Final Fantasy 14 or Square Enix don't only see the funky stuff, but they also see, the big orchestrations that I make. And they're like, oh shit, he's not only like a guy who just plays bass. This guy actually can compose, I'm trying to get to that point. And I don't really know if that changes anything. I don't know if I get to the point, if then they're going to be prompted to get in touch with me and be like, hey, let's work together. I don't know. But that's the most logical step, which is also why this FS7 track that I'm talking about is very special for me. I've been waiting a long time to release it. I made it 2 years ago.
Wow.
And it's the
Still
best.
Putting the final touches on it?
No. No, I finished it, but I was like, I don't want to release it like this because I know I don't have the audience that it was meant for at my fingertips. And it's going to be like screaming in the void. I don't want to do that. So I just kept it and I tried to build an audience, and so that when I release it, it finds, the people it's meant for. And that's also why I'm releasing it on top of One Winged Angel is Funky. One Winged Angel is Funky is just a promotional campaign, if you will, for this big video.
Get people to come to your channel, and then they're like, "Oh my god, this track!"
Yeah, I'm gonna try to release it like the day after. So I release One Winged Angel Funky. If it does very well, then the day after, boom, there's this big FS7 remix that is it's amazing, and I hope that it goes well. But you can never tell. Sometimes a video does well because you did a funny face at minute 0:13, and then people watch the whole video, and you're like, "Fuck." Like people like the song, but actually it was the funny face that got them to watch. So why do I even bother? There's that a little bit. Yeah.
I feel
so you never know. You never really know, but I'm trying to, my best. And I understand also why that is. There's so much content on the internet. It's very hard for people to even care, so you should really give them reasons to.
Music, music is universal, makes you feel things. And like, if you're saying that this, you cried during composing this, it's
but that's me. But I'm like, that's me. I don't know if people are gonna, have the same reaction, but I hope they will.
Yeah.
But
it just shows that you put this incredible amount of passion into it. And, and I'm really excited for it.
I'm sure you're gonna love it.
Oh my God.
Because Final Fantasy 7
video. No, I'm just kidding. I'll do a reaction. This is me listening.
I'm gonna pay some influencers to react to the track. I'm gonna do that, guys. I'm gonna pay you to react.
Yeah,
that would be cool, but that would be, oh my God, that would be kind of sketchy too. But I think people are going to have reactions to that. Like,
that's awesome.
I worked on this with a video editor, so it's like my effort. Yeah, that's why. I cried because I visualized in my mind, but it's not always easy to explain through music alone what you saw, what you visualized. But in this case, it's accompanied by a video, and it matches the music incredibly well. And I watched it so many times over, and it gives me goosebumps all the fucking time. And I hope people are going to enjoy it. This is probably speaking for me. but who knows? Maybe no one is gonna fucking care. It could be the case.
I'm going to go with the former. I think everybody's going to love it. I'm really excited for it as well. So there you have it. That's what Alex has been up to. It's what he's currently up to, and what you can expect in the near future here. Really exciting stuff. Alex, if you don't mind, I'd like to ask you your top 3 favorite Final Fantasy soundtracks, and then what track in particular. I know that the Final Fantasy is just chock full of masterpieces, but what would you consider an absolute masterpiece?
Man, this is tough because sometimes my favorite, there's one of my favorite tracks is Caius's theme from Final Fantasy 13-2, but FF13-2's soundtrack is not in my top 3. But that track itself is probably
it's like a standout.
Probably in my top 3. Like, maybe I like it even more than One Winged Angel and Dancing Mad. Yeah, I know. I said it. I know. The thing about One Winged Angel is that there is one message behind it. Fear, this gray-haired man is about to kill everybody. He's very angry. Burning inside, angry Sephiroth. Fine. That's kind of all there is. And it's an amazing piece, by the way. It's a crazy orchestration. It's a crazy orchestration.
Masterpiece.
It is. Yeah. And also it has, the cool thing about it is that it references Jimi Hendrix, but also it references Carmina Burana and Karl Orff, which is oh, fortuna. That thing there, there's a passage there. It's Estuan Sinterius ira vehementi. So there's many different references throughout, which are from different universes. And when you think about the fact that it was composed for a 1997 game, it's crazy. The level, Uematsu is a freaking visionary. So it's a masterpiece. There's no question about that.
It is a masterpiece.
Caius's theme, dude. The orchestration there is so cool too, and it tells so much. It's not only, he's angry, he's gonna kill everybody, but it's he's angry, he's in pain, there's some love, there's some tragedy, there's some despair, and there's some danger, some power, just so many emotions, because I feel Caius is a way more human character than Sephiroth is. And probably that's why I like the theme more. So the music is not only a reflection of just the composition, but also about the emotions that they meant to represent with that. And I think it was Naoshi Mizuta. 13-2, Caius theme, one of my top 3 tracks. But as for soundtracks, well, FF7 remake, there's no doubt FF7 remake is probably is the best one. There's so much in that they really put together. It's Knights of the Round. When you summon Knights of the Round, you see this freaking 13 epic knights coming and slashing the enemy. That's how the FF7 remake soundtrack feels like, because people may just think, this is Nobuo Uematsu. No, Nobuo Uematsu just composed Hollow. That's all he composed. And he composed all the originals, but all the arrangements have been done by a dream team, Mitsuto Suzuki and Masashi Hamauzu as leading elements. Those two are legends, especially Hamauzu, but then all the other guys too, Keiji Kawamori, Yoshitaka Suzuki, Yasunori Nishiki, Shotaro Shima, etc. There's 10 or 12 composers that brought so much style to this soundtrack, which is very varied and super cool. And I don't think I ever seen a single player game with as much music as FF7 Remake. So that's the top one for me.
Okay.
Final Fantasy 12 is, I don't know if it's my top 3, but that one is special. It hits different. It's very different because it sounds like, I don't know, Star Wars. It sounds epic and it's very colorful orchestration. Fantasy. Yeah, it's amazing. They did it very well. And then I really like Final Fantasy 8. That one also is very different. I don't know how else. I think it was a time where Uematsu was like, yo, let me do something real different now. And he already did that with 7 a little bit. When you hear the music for the first 6 Final Fantasy and then you hear 7, you're like, whoa, that Mako Reactor track, really spooky. It's
it's like evolutions of each other when you go, when you go 6, 7, and 8. You can just, he's you did this amazing thing with 6, and now let's take it into 7, add some industrial sounds. And
And then 8 is
building off of it.
And then 8 is even more different. Oh my God, there's also 10. Shit.
Yep,
Oh,
10.
10. Yeah, probably 10 is one of the top 3. I don't know, man. Like,
Right.
surely 7 remake.
I think we named
7 remake
like
and
5
10 are surely. Yeah, sure, those ones. But the third, I cannot know. I don't know. 8, 12, or 14 is also great. 15 is also great. I don't know.
When I asked this question, I was like, well, in case if he asked me, I have to have an answer. And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, I don't know. I had to combine 7 and remake.
Yeah.
I was like, well, because I feel like 7 is just probably
you can do that because you can do that.
Yeah, I combine them.
Yeah, because it's like in the end, it's like it's the same ideas in compositions, kind of, but they just transform them a little bit.
It's like full orchestral versions of them.
Yeah, exactly. But as for top 3 tracks, Caius' theme is definitely one of my favorites, and they change with age too. And there's a track in Final Fantasy X, which is has a different name. In the Japanese soundtrack, I think it's called Fantasy. In the normal one, when you go on Spotify, I think it's called Phantoms. And it's a very chill track that I think plays when you're around Macalania, in the frozen area in Macalania. And I don't know, like that track got me hypnotized like very few tracks I ever did in my life. And another one I like a lot right now is, there's one that's called A Sodom Sunset from Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is the one that plays when you're on top of the Sector 7 plate where everything is collapsed and stuff. There's a sunset and it's very emotional. But I also love Hope's theme from FF13-2, and which is very similar to Jesse's theme from FF7 Remake because it's made by the same guy. So yeah, I would say those 3, but maybe I'm going to change the answer tomorrow. But yeah, Caius' theme, 13-2, Phantoms from FF10, and then A Sudden Sunset or Hope's theme from 13-2.
I'm really surprised that Aerith's theme.
Oh shit! Wait, Airbuster theme. Oh fuck.
Oh, Airbuster. I was saying Aerith. Aerith.
It's not one of my favorites, but I like it. No. But it's no FF7. Oh wait, FF7 World Map theme actually is the only like. I'm someone who never cries. Okay, I told you I cried 2 times with these remixes, Kingdom Hearts and FF7 that is coming. Those were 2 times I cried in the past 18 years. The third time I cried in the past 18 years was at Distant Worlds when they played the FF7 World Map theme with the orchestra, all while playing scenes from the game in the screen behind them. And there was just cloud roaming around the map and ba, 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 ba. And I started crying like a stupid baby because I don't know what I felt. It hit so hard because it was my first Final Fantasy. Mm-hmm. It was my childhood. I'm very, I love my childhood and stuff. And I don't know, it hit me like a brick wall. And no other track did that night. No other track does that. Maybe the FF8 Overture does that a little bit. You know, the one that plays when you begin the game?
Might be the prelude to...
Oh, damn. Fine, you're fucked. It's everywhere.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I mean...
you're gonna cry every time you play a Final Fantasy game.
I'm done. Yeah, I just cry. I'm a mess when I play.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. It's powerful. Like, it's powerful music. It's a trick question. It's so hard.
I know it's really difficult because music just your preference of music will change depending on the mood that you're in. You know what I mean? So that was a trick question, but I was excited I was happy with your answers just because I got to know a little bit more about what you like, what songs are your standout.
There's another one, a special mention I forgot. Do you listen to the Black Mages versions at all?
Do I listen to the? No, I haven't. I haven't.
Okay, so there's I think 3 albums or 2, and they just made like metal or rock versions of the Final Fantasy tracks. You must listen to the Black Mages version of Vamos a la Flamenco.
Okay.
Because there's a Spanish guitar solo in there, which is better than most things in the universe. Like, to me at least, I really love Spanish guitar. The Spanish solo at Vamos a la Flamenco is completely different. It's something different. Also, there's Dancing Mad, which they did all the 4 acts, I think, and at the final act, there's a guitar solo in the Black Mages version. And oh my God, it's so beautiful. It's so powerful. It's like, those two tracks from Black Mages are so amazing.
I gotta check that out. Check that out. Okay. Shout out to Chocobo Band. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Oh, I've seen them on YouTube all the time. I have to listen to them though.
Yeah, they're kind of up and coming. They just released their latest album, I believe at the end of December, and it's really good. So shout out to Chocobo Band. I do. They went a little more, I guess, hard rock on it, which was cool.
It's so nice to like
fantastic performance of Eyes on Me.
Oh, damn.
It's fantastic. So you got to check that out.
Okay.
Yeah. It's look, Eyes on Me is another track that we didn't, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, actually I'm a bit weird, as in I tend to prefer the non-vocal tracks in Final Fantasy. But like, for example, when I think about Eyes on Me, I think like in Final Fantasy, there's always these vocal tracks, but also there's like arrangements that are like instrumental that play in other scenes. And I think Eyes on Me is probably one of those tracks. I believe when you're in Wind Hill with Laguna and you see Laguna's Memories, there's a track that plays, which is a reference to Eyes on Me, I think. And that one hit me very hard. So yeah, I like that stuff. But
while we're on the topic of these songs, and now I won't bombard you with like if there's fan questions, unless if you want them.
It's fine.
Because I'm sure you get, I'm talking about like requests. Like I'm sure you get requests all the time.
Yeah.
But I will, if you want to take them, awesome. That'd be great. But I won't, these are the only two that I have planned to ask you. I'm really good friends with, I had an incredible guest on last week. He does Final Fantasy VII lore and story breakdowns. Sleep Easy. He does some incredible work. Him and Schrodinger's baby seal.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a funny name. If I knew the real name, I'd let you know. But I'm really good friends with them.
Okay. All right, that's nice. Nice.
So yeah, Sleep Easy wanted me to bring up Elf's theme from Before Crisis. He wants to know if you have heard that. Have you?
No, I've never heard the Before Crisis soundtrack, actually.
He considers it just one of his favorites.
I will check it out. I know it's an important character, so it must be good.
Yeah, he's like definitely have him check it out, and if you ever thought about it.
Oh man, you know what? Like you should have asked me like what is my favorite obscure Final Fantasy soundtrack? Have you ever played Dirge of Cerberus?
Yes, I've played Dirge of Cerberus. Yeah.
Do you remember the point where you're in Edge, the city like that was built on top of it or something? There's a track that plays there. It's called Silent Edge. It's just guitars and strings from Masashi Hamauzu. That's one of my favorite Final Fantasy tracks of all time. In fact, my Reddit name is Silent Edge. It was
I'm gonna go back and
but it's like it's very. I don't expect that lots of people will see in it what I see.
Okay.
But yeah, there's some tracks. Maybe Alpha's theme is for your friend the same thing. Like maybe it's not a super popular track, but it's definitely very personal.
It's definitely it's almost like bombastic, like it's supposed to be in a main line.
Okay.
So definitely check that out. And then Schrodinger's baby seal.
Okay.
And, he said Manas. This is a non-Final Fantasy.
I haven't yet, but I know there's a remake, right?
I believe there was. I don't know if it was received well. I'm not sure. But yeah, so Secret of Mana's final battle theme. He wants that.
I would consider it. Final battle themes in JRPGs are always crazy. Like I don't know if you played Grandia. Yeah. Grandia 2.
Oh man, this is old.
It's super old.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Man, the final boss theme there hit really different. It's like when I listen to that stuff, I feel threatened. I'm like, am I ever gonna have to do stuff like if I write music for an RPG? Am I gonna have to do stuff like this? I don't want to. I'm not able to. What the hell? It's crazy. Now that it's like Bravely Default final boss theme there, which I just listened to the final boss Serpent Eating the Horizon or something. It's absolutely insane. Like not only insane to conceive and compose, but it's even more insane to play it. And it's played live. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. No, there's no way. I need like a music material at level 5 to be able to write that stuff. There's no other way. I cannot do it by myself. I can't do it by myself.
So I'm pretty sure it's safe to say that the funky covers, we talked about them earlier on in the show, but I feel like the funky covers are a fan favorite, just because they're just new, they're fresh, man, and then the little bite-sized things that people can share around on Twitter. Have you ever considered releasing a full soundtrack? I know you said earlier that you felt like it was like this is silly. What am I doing? Like, this is Final Fantasy music. But have you ever considered releasing like just
a full album?
Final Funky 7. You know what I mean? Like,
I would actually love that. The only reason why I haven't done that is that I'm not so good, actually. Like, so it takes me a long time to learn those funky riffs. So like One Winged Angel, funky, to write the bass line and stuff and record it terribly. I have to re-record the whole thing now. And to write the remix with the drums and stuff, it was like 20 hours. And also, the problem is that if I want to release it officially on stores, I can't use the original track and sample it in the song. Because what I do is like use the original track and then speed it up or something. But you can't release that for sale if you do that. What I have to do to release it officially is to re-record the entire track myself. So I would have to rewrite One Winged Angel, and then I would have to remix my written version, which is a lot of work because it's like writing a cover and then remixing the cover. And that would be something that I would definitely love to do. But since it would be such a time-consuming project, I would rather just do it much later when there's really such a very high demand. And maybe I can pay someone to be like, hey, write an orchestral version and I'm going to remix it. Or I can take the time to do it myself. But definitely I would like to do that. I also like to, write orchestration, like, hey, turning Mario music into Bloodborne satanic soundtrack. I love that. And I love to make my reaction videos and stuff. So the problem is that I like to do 20 things.
In the day.
Yeah, and I also would like to make, a emotional dubstep remix of Somnus from Final Fantasy 15. It's an idea I've been having for many years. If you look at my to-do list, there's loads of incredible ideas like Final Fantasy 9, the place I return to someday, jazz version. I already have it in my mind. I know exactly what it's going to sound like, but I need time to write, and I'm not as fast as I would like to because I'm not as talented as I would need to be to write these ideas very fast. So would I do it? Yeah, definitely. I think at some point I will definitely sit down and just work on a project like that, but it might need a little bit more time and a bit more demand, I think. But I'm already kind of happy, like very happy that people really like these covers.
Yeah,
it's very nice.
Absolutely. That's good. Let's see. I'm sorry, I'm just lost my place on my question sheet. Yeah, we're good with the questions. If you want to move on to like taking some fan questions.
Yeah, let's do that. People, you've been in the chat and writing, and I really appreciate it, but it might look like we've been ignoring you. No, that's not what we try to do. We're just trying to...
Right, yeah, I do apologize for that.
Okay, let's do questions then.
Yep, absolutely.
Ask us anything.
What artists outside of Final Fantasies have inspired you? This is coming from Morgana Sapphire Raven. So
maybe it will come as a surprise to some, but I mean, I listen to a lot of music, and people say that all the time, but I really mean it. Maybe it will come as a surprise to some, but I really like Coldplay. Like they're but sadly, when people say Coldplay, they just think about the singles that you hear, in the radio, but there's way more than just that. So I like them. I like Muse. There's a guy called Soul Dweller that makes this hybrid, like electronic and orchestral music. It depends. There's so many artists, but right now, on top of my head, like there's those Owl City. There's Pilot, which makes like funky synthwave music. There's what have I been listening to lately? I don't know. There's so many. Like you should go on my. I don't listen to Juno Reactor, but there's a friend of mine called Neurotech and Neurowolf. Someone asked me in the chat if I listen to Juno Reactor. There's a friend of mine called Neurotech who writes music that is very inspired by Juno Reactor, and it's very nice. So yeah, you should go on my Spotify. If you go on Spotify, look for Alex Moukala. You're gonna find my user listener profile, and then there's all my playlists and stuff, and you can really see. But I really listen to a lot of stuff. But Coldplay is definitely one of my favorite bands.
This one's from Fred Link. Would you like to have? Oh, I think I lost it. Crap. Sorry. It just kind of like refreshed. Would you like to have some of the tracks you arranged played by an orchestra, like a full orchestra?
That would be a dream come true.
Right.
But I also would be feeling sorry for the orchestra because the way I write is sometimes would be very hard to play like that, like as strongly and as aggressively as I'm right. So I would be like, oh, wow, yeah, let's do it. But then I'd be like, I hope your arms are okay after that, you know, because, you know, like, but yeah, I would like that. It would be amazing. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Are you planning to go to the Final Fantasy VII Remake live orchestra when you're able to? If not, what was the last live game orchestra you went to? This is from Heroes 0209.
The last I went to was, I think, Distant Worlds when I moved to London a few years ago.
You got to experience it live.
Yeah. I did in Milan, and also I did in London. In Milan is when I cried. And in London at the Royal Albert Hall, they played like Dancing Mad. It was insane. They played Dancing Mad, the whole thing. I was like, oh my God, there's an organ and stuff. It was great. It was great. I would love to go to the FS7 Remake live orchestra because they're playing Tightrope, which is one of my favorite tracks. It's one of the new ones and it's amazing. And also they're playing Jesse's theme, which is, again, one of the new ones and it's great, but COVID. So yeah. I don't know. Buying tickets now, I'm like, am I even going to go? I don't know. So I'm a bit sad about that.
I had the chance to go to, I actually believe it might have been the Final Fantasy VII, either remake orchestra or whatever, but it was during the E3 2019. It was.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I had the chance to do it, and I was like, man, I have to hit these press conferences because we got in. So I was like, I'm definitely not going to miss the press conference. And the one that we skipped it for was EA, and man, I think it was EA if I'm remembering correctly, and I was like, man,
oh dude,
what am I doing here?
Well, but actually, like, yeah,
it was
whatever. You're gonna have to, as I was saying before, like I wanted to go to Tokyo Game Show to get the chance to, I don't know, meet the devs or speak with them and listen to the music and rewrite it as a first thing, be the first one to rearrange FS7 Remake music and release it on the internet and stuff. But that didn't happen, but it's fine. You know, you miss opportunities like that, you can find others. It's okay.
When I when I was at E3 for waiting in line for Final Fantasy VII Remake, man, I was the hypest person there. I was so hype. I was going on. I'm like, wow, let's go. I was getting pictures with the Turks, you know, like, and it turns out like I got a picture with one of the Turks. Turns out, I can't remember her name. She was like, she was an employee for Square Enix, like one of the developers of the game.
Yeah. Damn.
And I didn't know it. I was like, I didn't know it at the time. I was just like, yeah, the Turks, let's go.
But I think they like it. Like, hey, like here's this thing that you've been working on for many years and you've been working from the comfort of your own office and you are not in touch with your fans. You don't see
exactly.
Excitement. That's why people like Maximilian Dude are so important. Mm-hmm. Like
they want to see those reactions. They want to see.
Yeah, like actually the developers of FS7 Remake, when they were feeling down, they would watch Maximilian Dude's videos about the trailers and stuff, his reactions, and that will remind them about, hey, there's people out there who are waiting for this game and very excited. You know, I read somewhere that they're watching reactions and stuff for that reason. So I think when they see you getting hyped about the Turks at E3, they don't think like, oh, who's this schmuck stuff. They're like, oh, that's amazing, you know?
Yes, I love this guy. This is good.
Yeah, exactly. I thought, at least.
Oh, after I got finished playing, I was stupid, man. You had 30 minutes to play the game, and I was just like so into it and so hyped. I'm just running through it, having a good time. Beat the Scorpion in no time. I think I beat it in 15 minutes.
Oh no!
Like that. And like, and they were like, "Yep, your demo's over." And I was like,
"Thank you for playing the game." Like, no, let me be here 15 minutes and look at the screen that says, "Thank you for playing the game."
I looked around and I'm seeing people climbing down the ladder, getting ready to fight him. I'm like, oh no, what have I done? So like, I went up there and like this girl, she was like, how did you like it? And I was like, well, I mean, that was freaking fantastic. And I'm like going off about it. And then she said, I said, yeah, it's got the like a battle. It's like it feels like it mixes a little bit of Kingdom Hearts in there. And she said, I'm actually quality assurance on Kingdom Hearts or something like that. I was like,
Damn, that's nice. Imagine if you said, "Oh, thank God he doesn't play that Kingdom Hearts." Oh, but I'm actually quality assurance. Oh, sorry. That would have been terrible.
Right. That would have sucked.
Someone asked if Max listened to my work. Actually, Max is super cool. When I just started my new YouTube channel, Alex Moukala Music, I started by making FS7 remake covers. And again, I would take like the demo playthroughs on YouTube and stuff, and I would rewrite the music, reverse engineer it, and write it as I heard it. And I wrote the first few I did were the Mako Reactor, also the Mako Reactor theme and the Mako Reactor battle theme. And I did it especially because I saw Max, like his opinion about the demo that he tried. And he talked so like excitedly about, man, the Mako Reactor music is so cool, blah, blah. And I was like, damn, like, let me check it out. I saw the video demo. I was like, let me rewrite it. And I wrote it and I published a snippet of it on Twitter and I tagged Max. I was like, hey, I'm rewriting Mako Reactor so the Maximilian dude can, hype over it before the game is out. He saw it, and my account really didn't have so many followers back then. I was surprised. He really saw it and he retweeted it. And then not only that, like that gave me a lot of like exposure and stuff, but also on his stream, in the beginning, he was like, hey guys, like there's this guy, Alex Moukala, he's making this FS7 remake reactions that are very fucking dope. And he started playing them on the stream and he's just vibing and then commenting. And it's like, hey, you should subscribe to him. You should subscribe. And it keeps him like, promoting me. And I'm like, I'm nobody. Like he doesn't know me anything, but he's really, great that way. So that really, I was very happy about it. And now whenever I make Final Fantasy, whatever, he also follows me on Twitter. And when I make Final Fantasy stuff, like fine covers and stuff, people always tag him. And I'm like, please don't. Like, stop bugging Max. Also, people being like, Square Enix, hire this man, and they tag Square Enix. I really appreciate it. And there was a time where I'm not going to hide you that I was like, man, I wish that someday I have a fan base that can actually help me fight for this dream. I can see this as their own battle too, because I'm just doing this to inspire other people actually. So it'd be nice if people really saw it and they thought, man, I hope Square Enix hired this guy. But now that everyone is tagging Square Enix all the time, I'm like, guys, they get it. And also it's the social media managers. They don't get it, making decisions like that. So let's not bug them, but I really appreciate it. But both Max and Square Enix, they see it. So yeah.
Awesome. That's really cool, man. And I can say the same. Actually, I can say the same for you, man. We're small time podcast trying to come up. You retweeted it, and your community, your fan base, really came here, man. And I really appreciate everyone checking us out.
My pleasure.
All the new follows, I really do appreciate that too. It's just great. We want to keep building this up so we can spotlight and get to know these content creators like Alex.
Yeah, I think like focusing on FS7 is actually Final Fantasy in general. I don't think there's some Final Fantasy podcasts, but not so many that you need to necessarily focus only on 7. Like maybe you could do 16 or something, or 13 or whatever. Like, I don't know. But yeah, this is a very cool idea. Definitely. So looking forward to see how it goes. BBC will ask a question before which do away. Sorry about that. What songs from remake future titles are you excited for? What about you, Daniel? What songs are you excited for?
Cosmo Canyon.
Oh, damn. Yeah, okay. I'm wondering what the battle theme of Cosmo Canyon is going to sound like. Because, now it's kind of like Kingdom Hearts. You have like Mako Reactor and then it's Mako Reactor battle theme. It's not only FS7 battle theme everywhere. I wonder what it would sound like, Personally.
When you're in the cave?
Yeah. Oh my God, that cave is going to give me nightmares.
The wall.
Remember the boss, like the G, whatever, the face in the wall, the laughs and it can, man, shit. I don't want to see that.
It's gonna be great. They're gonna give it the full treatment like they did with like Airbuster or something.
Oh yeah, I think so.
That's gonna be insane. No, as far as music goes, Cosmo Canyon has always been one of my top favorite Final Fantasy music soundtracks.
That's nice. Yeah, it's a good one.
Music off the soundtrack.
Personally, I'm just wondering what they're gonna do for the final boss of the final game.
Oh yeah, because they
One Winged Angel Rebirth already is like, it's one of the craziest arrangements I ever heard for a boss track.
Yeah,
And I definitely, like I was not expecting that. Like, what did we have? Well, with One Winged Angel, FS7, there's sound fonts. With Advent Children, there's like metal version. Okay, you added guitars. With Crisis Core, it's more orchestrated and people say it sounds like Christmas music. I don't get it, but fine. But it was a cool orchestration already. But I was like, there's no way you can do this track again in a way that sounds fresh and sounds even more menacing. And then they did it. I'm like,
yeah, they kind of like took moments of the song and just mashed it, and then like took other things. Like you could even.
I think that's a metaphor to, the story probably, because they're trying to represent Sephiroth in a very peculiar way by just taking these things and mixing them. What may seem like a random order. I think so, yeah.
That's the theory right there, man. You just tell Sleep Easy and Schrodinger, you guys got to just listen to the soundtrack and it gives you the entire story right there. Make your theories now.
Well, it kind of does, like actually, do you know why Jesse hit different in FS7 Remake? Because do you like one thing that they did with the soundtrack? When you go to her place, when you meet her mom or something.
Yeah.
There's a theme that plays there with a guitar, which is super beautiful, by the way, when you walk around on top of the plate.
Yeah.
That's Jesse's theme. And it's very nice. It's very it's heartwarming, beautiful acoustic guitar, which is one of my favorites. And it's a melody that is very easy to remember too. And when in the scene right after that, when you leap with the parachute and you go down to the slums, you hear that theme again, but it sounds more epic and more happy. And after that, there's the avalanche theme that you hear also, which you heard the first time when you met Biggs and Wedge the first time. Those themes you're going to hear again later in the game when you're confronting the Shinra president with Barrett before the Airbuster. There's this speech that Barrett gives to the people of Midgar. And there you hear the avalanche theme. And then at the end of the game, where certain things happen with Jesse and stuff, you hear that theme again, but it's sad on strings and stuff. So the game itself just gives you these melodies and then repurposes those melodies again many times over to kind of, I don't know, they're trying to present you these characters in so many different ways, and telling their tale through music like that.
What's Dopey or Doppy? Said Sid's theme and Sid's character model. That made me think the High Wind theme. That would be dope, actually. Oh, I can't wait for that one as well. And then we got we'll take maybe two more questions here. What's the hype meter for Final Fantasy 16 music?
The what? The hype meter. Oh. Wow.
I had to make it.
Well, I'm actually, I don't think we heard enough that. We don't know much. The trailer track sounds nice, but I don't know. The one thing that the trailer track told me is this is probably Masayoshi Soken, because I recognize his style as a composer here. But I think it's early to say. I don't know. I need to know who the composer is. For example, when I discovered the composer for 7 Remake was Masashi Hamauzu, I lost my shit. Because I know his music very well. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to hear what he's going to do. And then, we'll see.
Talk about tears, man. Just hearing that, it was actually when you turn on the PlayStation 4 and they had the theme. And it was just Aerith theme playing on a piano. I was just like, God. Just
damn.
Just let that play while it's really mellow and just, oh man, so good.
Those 3 notes are gonna make you cry. And then it's feels. That's it.
Okay, so we'll take one more question, and then we'll go on to the giveaway, guys. So we'll just get one more question. I think. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Schrodinger's Baby Seal says, okay, I got a question. What Final Fantasy song do you like the least? Bonus points. I don't know. Is this? You want to answer that? It feels like puts you on the
Yeah.
spot, man. Like, what's
Actually, it's fine. Actually, Sutakidane kind of makes me cringe, but it's not. Again, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I don't know. It's not a bad piece of music at all. You know, it's pretty good, honestly. But I feel that with the vocal tracks, like, I don't know, Sutakidane, My Hands, or Melodies of Life, or stuff like that, or Final Fantasy 13, like, make my wish come true. It's like, it feels like they're trying so fucking hard with the vocal tracks. And it never sits well with me. But Final Fantasy 14 does that amazingly. The vocal tracks in 14 are so
King
fucking
Mob,
good.
for sure.
No! Okay, there you go. There's the answer. There's the answer. No, but
For sure.
14 does that perfectly. Like, you know, Answers, Dragon Song, Shadowbringers, Revelations I like, but not as much. But the other ones are great. Also, 13.2 is amazing. Like Starting Over or Neo Bodum, or all these vocal tracks are so good. But the I don't know, Sutakidane or something, it's too much. It's too sugary. It feels too different from the rest of the tracks in the game. But I love it when you have Yuna's theme, which is essentially Sutakidane, by the way. Like the melody in Yuna's theme is Sutakidane's melody. That version I like. Sutakidane with the vocals, I'm like, oh no, please don't. But that's not my least favorite track. I don't know, my least favorite track in Final Fantasy? Is there a track that I hate?
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there is. I just, you don't remember the ones you don't like. You just skip them.
Yeah, it's true. Also, but there must be something like a track that everyone's losing their shit over, and I'm like, just no.
So maybe
someone said Chocobo rap. No way. No, it's not. No. Simply no.
Hip hop to Chocobo?
No.
The
no.
jam.
False. We don't do that here. We don't say stuff like that. No, honestly, I don't know because like even Sutakidane, like I really like the instrumental. It's just when they add the vocals, it gets too crazy for me, like too intense for me. But I don't know. I don't know if I have a track that I really don't like. I don't think. The Dog's Old. That's Little Stamp. Someone asked, what's this dog song from Final Fantasy 7 Remake? Little Stamp. It's a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece.
So, what can I do for you from
Final Fantasy 10-2? Oh, yeah, there's another one, but I really like 10-2's soundtrack a lot, though. But what can I do for you? It's like, oh, please, no, don't hit me with that pop music in Final Fantasy. Don't do that.
That was from Sarum Geeson. And then...
he's my best friend. He's watching us.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Yeah.
Ranikel? Revolutions just doesn't vibe with me now that I think of it.
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't hit me so well. But not as much as the other three, like Shadowbringers, Dragon Song, and Answers. But it's still it's a very good song. Okay.
Well, if anybody has any more questions, or Alex, you still want to take some more questions, or?
I'm okay, but it depends.
I don't know what your time schedule is like.
I'm good. I have a few minutes still.
Awesome. So we're gonna do questions right after this giveaway. So I was trying to think on how to do the giveaway. So since Alex is a musical guest here, we're gonna play a little musical chair style giveaway here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to play the that promo video that has the funkified one-winged angel, and when I hit stop, this is when you're going to send the certain message here. It's going to be VII. So type that into your chat message right now, but do not send it. VII. And I'm going to play the funkified version of One Winged Angel. And when it stops, and I'll know if you send it before.
Please don't play too long, or I'm going to hate it after a while. I'm like, oh God.
I know. I had it on loop before we started. I'm like,
yeah,
it's going to be ingrained in their minds. So when it stops, and I'll just stop it randomly, send it out, and the first 7 that I see in the chat will win a signed copy of the Norse myths that inspired Final Fantasy VII. This is a book by author M.J. Gallagher, does phenomenal work within the Final Fantasy community. He is a lore master. He knows so much about it. He is, man, truly incredible work that he does. He also writes the unofficial novelization of Final Fantasy VII, which is really cool. So he's got that. He's got the Nibelheim incident, which won awards for KupoCon. So please check out MJ Gallagher. You can find him on Twitter at FF7 Novels, and go to his Patreon, which I'll put in the description on the YouTube video if you're watching on the YouTube. Okay. On the YouTube. What am I, old? What I on the YouTube.
On the YouTubes. Well, we can't escape that. That's our destiny. On the TikToks.
On the TikToks and the YouTubes. All right, here we go, guys. So I'm gonna play the they're Sleep Easy Destiny. Oh no. I'm gonna play the song here. When the track ends, you send 7 in the chat, and the first 7 that I see after the track has ended will win. Here we go.
No, there's okay. Yeah.
All right, so there it is. Dopey has won.
Congrats, Dopey.
As Dopey, or is it Doppy or Dopey?
Dopey.
Either way, you have won a signed copy from the author himself, MJ Gallagher. Man, where am I at? I'm slacking. I needed to have that soundbite ready to go.
Yeah.
All right, so Doppy, just please send me a message here on Twitch, and we'll I'll get in touch with you. We'll get your details so that way we can have MJ Gallagher send you a signed copy of the Norse myth that inspired Final Fantasy VII. Really cool stuff. So we're gonna go back to Alex, man. Alex,
yeah, ask me your questions, guys.
Yeah, ask questions. Alex has a little more time. And this is just to Alex's discretion on how much time, because I don't want to keep him. Keep asking you questions.
Let's do like, I don't know, 10 more minutes is fine.
Okay.
Someone asked, by the way, quick question. For those bass riff shorts, is the fact they loop so well deliberate? Yeah, it is. Because, I'm trying to give you guys something that is short, so you don't have to like, oh, fuck, it's a 2-minute video. I need to sit down 2 minutes to watch it all. Also because like when people, on any social media, when people skip your video, even though it was 2 minutes long, just 10 seconds, the social media would then think this video sucks because people didn't see the whole thing. So I don't really want that to happen to the video. I don't want to waste your time. So I make it short, but I make them loopable so that you can also consume them for half an hour if you want to.
And that view count goes up too, man, because you're just like, I got to hear it on repeat for a while.
Yeah,
like
that can happen too. But mostly I'm just thinking like I want to give people something that they really enjoy, but that also is not so challenging to consume, which is a thought that I hated before. I'm like, no, if you really want to listen to my stuff, you need to consume it as I meant it to be consumed, okay? But now I'm like, let's just be kind to people. Even myself, sometimes I'm like, I just want to.
It's good. It's a good strategy too. Like when I was just posting links when I first started the podcast, I was like, oh, go to YouTube, check out this, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Then I started adding an image and that got more attention. And then once you start putting a little bite of the
you give people podcast. You give people an example and they're like, oh, is this good? Yeah. Okay, fine. Let's go. Otherwise, because there's too much content. Alex, what do you think is going to happen in FF7 Remake Part 2? We're going to get bamboozled is what I think will happen. That's what I think will happen. Already the ending bamboozled us all. And I hope the game is going to continue to do that. I also wonder, like, I'm like, hey, if they, given the final boss of the game of Part 1, how are they ever going to
top that? That was a discussion that we've had for a long time, and I'm trying not to get into spoilers too much, but there is an explanation, but it has to be explained. You know what I mean? Like it can't just be like, this is, we're not going to leave it ambiguous. You're really going to have to tell.
Yeah, exactly. I hope they do that. That's
that calm. They're going to have to explain like, okay, this is why we were able to do things that, you know what I mean? Like, and then, the goblin in the field is not going to give us a hard time.
Yeah. Exactly. That's like when, I don't know, you watch Pokemon the entire first season, Ash is so strong that he goes against the Pokemon League, and then he goes in Yoto in the second season and freaking Heracross kicks his ass.
Yeah.
It's a freaking level 4 wild Heracross. How can
Pokemon
your Charizard?
Pokemon upset me when I was like 8. I was like, no way Pikachu just electrocuted a golem.
Yeah, I was too young and I was like, I didn't care, but this thing need to be explained. Someone left my music on for 4 hours. I'm sorry, Bruno, that happened. But yeah, any more reaction videos coming soon? Yeah, Heroes, definitely. I think the next one might be either Zelda or Attack on Titan, or probably Final Fantasy 14, because I think there's a new trailer coming next week. So yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to videos.
I'm trying to do reaction videos, but also like funky stuff, but also like orchestral stuff.
Yeah, so, you got so much content to manage.
Yeah, it's crazy. I wish I could clone myself, honestly, because I have lots of ideas, but I can't execute them as all together.
Mm. The reactions, like the analysis stuff, is so good. Love that.
Yeah, and thank you. I always try to add some element beyond me making faces. That's funny, and that's actually that's just how I am when I listen to music. That's just the thing that goes through my mind. But I always like to add something this bass line here is freaking dope, and I then play it on the bass. Or this sounds like Castlevania, and then I write our Castlevania remix for 30 seconds and I play it. And that's why they take a long time sometimes to make. But I like to make them.
Interject with a question here in chat. I'm sorry, guys. I just gotta piggyback on this. How many instruments do you play?
I would say, I am only comfortable saying that I play bass, but even with bass, I suck. And people are like, no, you don't. Yeah, I do. You just see the result of me playing a riff that I just spent 5 hours practicing, and you get to see the good take. If you saw the whole process, you'd be like, shit, you suck, it's true. So I suck at bass. And then all the other instruments, I know how they work. And if I spend, I know how it works, but I'm not I didn't develop the muscle memory to play it very well. But I can learn a song if I dedicate lots of hours into learning that.
Yeah.
It's just I don't have the muscle memory to just sit down and be like. Because
I feel like I saw a piano version of The Oath. I think it was The Oath. Maybe you had a piano version of something on your SoundCloud, and I was really good. It's
no, it wasn't. It was probably Ami from Final Fantasy VIII. Probably, I don't know. Okay. But yeah, there's stuff. I wrote it note by note on my computer though, and I made it sound like it was played by it.
Gotcha. Okay.
It wasn't performed.
Gotcha. Do you see any questions? Any questions, guys?
Yeah, someone. Damn, I see you so much too. Yeah. Hearing generalized music is amazing. I appreciate it much more after watching some. I appreciate that. I'm very happy about it.
Here we go. This one's coming from Goose Comics. Yeah. In regards to content creation, would you ever consider creating a track for OC Remix? I did. Oh.
That's why they commented on my work, because I actually, the landing remix, after publishing it by myself, I also published it on OC Remix, which is this amazing website where people, just regular people, make these insane video game remixes, and then they publish it through their website, which has this huge directory of remixes of them in so many games. And yeah, I published my landing remix there, and then a few years after, I met one of the owners of OC Remix. I think his name there is Lion Tamer, probably. I think that's his name. I met him at Tokyo Game Show a few years after. And he's like, hey, you Alex Moukala? I'm like, yeah, I am. But I was like, why do you know me? And it's like, I know you because you made the pack for OC Remix. And, I'm Lion Tamer. Like, oh! And super cool guy. He was there because he was presenting a game that he worked on with some very talented Japanese dudes and stuff. And yeah, the OC Remix gang is so pretty cool. Those guys inspired me to actually start making music.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, there's also a remix for Jeremy Soul from Terror's Theme and Overclock remix. That's true. Do you have any sort of gameplay commentary stuff?
There you go. Yeah, that one's from Zero
Uh,
Ganks. Wants to know if you've been if you play like live stream Final Fantasy 14.
Not Final Fantasy 14, and I'm not very interesting when I play, I think. But like sometimes I do stream games that people want to see my reaction to because of the music. Like I did Persona 5 Royale, and you will find sometimes gameplay videos of me on my off-topic YouTube channel called Alex Moukala Out of Context. There's some Dark Souls videos. There was a time where in Dark Souls there's an NPC that is a blacksmith, and he has an animation where he hits the hammer on the iron or something, and he does it with a very recurring rhythm. And I was joking with the chat. I'm like, hey guys, this rhythm is so dope. Like, hey, we could play some bass over it and stuff. And they're like, do it, do it, do it. I'm like, oh no, please, I suck. They're like, do it. So I grab the bass and I'm just playing along with the blacksmith playing the hammer. And then I just put the bass away. But when I put the bass away, I, by mistake, clicked the button to attack on Dark Souls. So it attacked the blacksmith, which is like a positive, like he's not an enemy. But when you attack the NPCs in Dark Souls, they become enemies. Mm-hmm. And he kicked my ass so fucking bad as a result of me jamming with him with bass. And it's like, it's fucking hilarious. And I took that and I made a video of it and I published it on YouTube on the Alex Moukala Out of Context. So you'll find stuff there, but I'm not really posting those on a regular basis because I barely ever do live streams because there's no time.
On the topic of Final Fantasy 14, Renakul. Yeah. Am I saying that right? Okay. Renakul. By the way, what job do you main in Final Fantasy 14?
I started with Monk because I like it, but then I was like, Duty Finder lines are too long, and I don't have so much time.
I'm a black mage, so yeah, it's 20 minutes.
I mean, DPSs are the coolest to use many times, but they're the most time consuming for that reason. Mm-hmm. And I ended up, because I played alone many times, I ended up doing like tank role, and I did warrior because I think it's the most fun at the time. It was, at least, because you do a lot of damage as savage and it's nice. But for me, if you're up to me, I'd rather do bard or monk or maybe gunbreaker now. I don't know, but yeah, that's what I do.
What are your thoughts on A Realm Reborn?
I think A Realm Reborn, I was very lucky to, I played the 1.0 for like a few days and I was like, what is this? So I put it aside. But then because I played it, when A Realm Reborn beta began in 2013, the first ever beta, I got an invitation code and I tried it. And I was lucky enough to be in an Italian community of Final Fantasy fans at the time, and many other people there got the invitation. And we started playing A Realm Reborn together. So it was amazing because we were just discovering this universe together. And I remember one time there was a guy who was at high levels already. He's like, hey guys, we're going on a trip. Come with me. And he brought us all from the way from Ul'dah to Coerthas. And we were like, whoa, there's dragons level 40. And also there were people telling me, hey, you need to really act because there's an Ifrit fight at level 18 or something. We're like, whoa. So we were just discovering this game together. And because of their camaraderie, I had a lot of fun. Yeah. But if you remove that, if I did that by myself, it would have been very different. But when you go to, when you get through, I think like if you go through the entire game, when you hit the patches after the finale of Realm Reborn, that's where it starts to get interesting. And in Heavensward, that's where it gets really, really fucking good. And I understand people being like, bro, I don't really want to play an entire game for like 50 hours.
It's a big ask of people, like to say, like, hey, you just get past Realm Reborn, you get to the good parts. And I'm like,
and you're like,
40 or 50 hours later, and you're finally at the good part. And I mean, for me, because the reason why I asked you is because I've recently started it, and it's been kind of like this debate. I was just trying to give my my recommendation. I was like, hey, maybe skip it, like skip A Realm Reborn, watch the cutscenes in the journal, and get to the part where like Heavensward starts picking up. Because I feel like once you're there, you're going to feel like, man, this story is engaging and it's fun.
I need to go back and see what was like. You think like you could start with the Dragon Song War and Heavensward, and then you're gonna be like, I want to know what happened before. So then you go back and play a Realm Reborn on a different character. That could work, but I don't know if I would recommend it though, because like,
yeah, well, see, the thing is I was like, okay, well, I learned that if you do skip a Realm Reborn, you still start at 0, like level 0, and you still have to work your way up. This is from what I read. Yeah, I could be mistaken. I was still trying to do a little bit of research on it. And you start. I think. Yeah, you have to build your character up to level 40 or 50 before you can even get to Heaven's Word.
I think you. I mean, I don't know for sure, but when Storm.
There you go. Zero Gank says, MSQ skip doesn't level you. You have to buy the level up. Oh, well, you can. You said you have to level up.
I mean, like you can buy it. Like I would buy both, but I suppose it can be expensive, but also you can get the game for much cheaper. Like I pay a Realm Reborn for the full price. Nowadays, it might cost 15 euros. So if you get that, then you get the main story quest skip and then get the level up. You're still not at 60 euros. So
I started with the free trial. I did the free trial, got through Realm Reborn. Man, it is a grind, and I'm not like I'm not gonna say like just because Final Fan TV, I have to be positive about it. It was rough, man. It was really rough to get through it. And I think what a lot of people, like you said earlier, the community is what really, like, if you're playing with community and like you're experiencing it together, or you're live streaming it and people are watching, everybody's having a good time. Yeah, it doesn't matter what you're doing. You could be vacuuming your living room if you got if you have
but actually, like, it's very fun. Like I think it's very enhanced. I Realm Reborn, at least, it's very enhanced if you play it with a static team of friends. And I did that. I was very lucky to do that, and we had the time of our lives. Really, like it's amazing. It was amazing.
Awesome.
I would advise somebody to start playing it with some friends, and that's what I say to my friends. Hey, if you want to play it, I'm gonna start a new character just to play with you. But then I can't get them to go on and to play the whole thing.
Like it's like you're trying to get people into this game. Like I got into it from Soldier and Night Sky Prince.
It took a long time for them to catch up. I'm like, thank God you guys did, because now Night Sky Prince is like, oh my God, this is the best Final Fantasy ever made. And I'm like, I told you 7,000 years ago,
7,000 years ago.
You are going to have the same exact reaction if you ever get to
I am at Heaven's Word, or before Heaven's Word. I'm on the quest. Like I think we just moved to Revenant's Toll. So everything.
Okay, great.
Like, I'm after.
Already,
I guess.
Already, like Heaven's Word is different.
I'm excited.
Shadowbringers, you're gonna. If you like Heaven's Word,
that's what I'm saying, man. People keep hyping it up, and I'm just like,
I know.
Why do I have to go through a Realm Reborn?
I know. Right? No, but that's the only one. Okay, the only two, like, a Realm Reborn is a bit of a grind. Stormblood is like good, but not as good as Heaven's Word, but better than a Realm Reborn. And then Shadowbringers is like, oh my freaking God. And I would only recommend this series of games to adult people, because it's very, like, this is the most mature Final Fantasy game ever, I think.
That's why I'm excited.
Or the ones I tried, at least.
Going to be rated M. I'm excited about that. It feels like they're going to be able to let loose like things that they wanted to do in 14, but just couldn't. So I'm excited.
Yeah, it would be great.
Let's see. Do we have any questions? I'm just scrolling. You see anything?
Yeah. Else? No, I think we don't have any more.
Okay. Well, I want to personally thank everyone in the chat. Thank you so much, everyone viewing this right now. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Sleep Easy, I already brought that up actually about midway through Elf's theme and Before Crisis. Alex said that he will check it out.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, so thank you guys so much for tuning in. This has been a fun experience, and everyone who's come over from Alex's sharing his link or sharing the link and everything. I really appreciate you guys coming here to, support Alex, support Final Fan TV. Really appreciate that. And Alex, thank you so much for agreeing to be on this podcast. I've had a great time.
Yeah, same. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, man. So that will close out this final podcast 16. I hope you guys enjoyed. Yeah, we'll see you next week, next weekend. Every weekend we have an awesome guest, and we have one lined up that I think you guys are gonna like. So yeah, I'll see you next week. Alex,
Cheers, everybody.
So much.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Oops.